like my daughter coming. I'm gonna be shocked. Tell her we're gonna get some NPR. If that's Nicole coming, I never. I'll let you welcome us so you can say that this happened to me. Look at that big head, Dr. Nicole. He has a little hair on his though.
How is your sister doing?
She's doing well, taking care of. She took care of my daddy, and now she's taking care of my nephew, and she had my brother over there. I told her she should have gone in the home house care. Let me turn this phone off before it rings, because I did. I just called little Franco. It seems like every time I come over here, I think about him, and I called him to see how he was doing. Sherelle, we ready? Okay. I didn't know today was his birthday. He was 99 years old. When the kids.
Good afternoon. Welcome the Atherton Drumline.
I love it though.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And the band is under the direction of Mr. Maxwell and Ms. Thompson. I hear them practicing multiple times a week. They do a great job. They are always good, but they have improved. You can tell that this is getting towards the end of the school year. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. And if you want some more, they'll be with us on Friday to celebrate, next Monday rather, to celebrate Earth Day. We're going to have an advocacy day for literacy with GROW. And so we're really pleased, but they will perform again around 3 o'clock on Monday. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thomas, Ms. Thomas and Mr. Maxwell. So we're going to open our program today and move on with what we're here for, which is the mural dedication, this beautiful mural that you see behind me. Commissioner Ellis will talk a little bit about it, as well as the creators of the actual organization that sponsored this mural. But we also will be launching the year of celebration for the 80th anniversary of the years of service that Hester House has been formally in existence. I'm going to take a moment of personal privilege and say that it hadn't dawned upon me when we talked about Ms. Hester, and then they talked about Hester House in 80 years, and then I realized she had already passed away. And so that made me have to dig deeper, Dr. Ryan, into my research and figure out exactly how did that happen. And so I did, and that really meant a lot to me that even after we pass on, we're judged by those things that we do that are good for the community. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to ask Commissioner Ellis to come up and make his remarks, and it'll be followed by our board chair, Jeremy Brown, and then by you all's own Baby Jane. Also, I call her Dr. McCullough, and she'll be up after Mr. Brown. Thank you.
Thank you. First, I want to thank Sharia McKenzie. She does a great job running the Hester House. We appreciate you, Sharia, and your entire team. All protocols observed. That means if it gets hot, you can tip in the building. Don't fall out here. I was joking with Mayor Turner. I chatted with him a little while ago to tell him it was about time to dedicate this mural and make note of the fact that this is the 80th anniversary of the Hester House. And he did say to me, well, Rodney, did you know the sun does come up? We had a press conference here the other day, but now I know why we did it at 11 a.m. So if we had done this a couple of hours earlier, but you know, after 80 years, we can't remember all of the details. But look, thank you all for being here and on short notice. As I said, this is the 80th anniversary. It marks an important milestone for Hester House and for us. It's a privilege to celebrate it with the Fifth Ward community and many of our local partners. JP, come on up, who are here. The GUC Hester House is a settlement house and community center located in the heart of the Nickel. The center was founded in 1943 to promote health, education, and welfare of Black Fifth Ward residents and establish recreational and entertainment facilities. It was originally to be called Houston's Negro Community Center of the Fifth Ward. But still, before the doors opened, it was renamed the Julius C. Hester House after a longtime resident of the Nickel who spent her entire life working for the welfare of this community. In the late 19th and 20th centuries, settlement houses, which is what this was initially, were reform institutions often placed in immigrant neighborhoods to help alleviate poverty and social services. But this legacy also beguiles our dark history of segregation, because the settlement houses were racially segregated. Today, the settlement house heritage lives on through institutions more popularly known as neighborhood centers, like the YMCAs and YWCAs. But the legacy of Black settlement houses lives on in institutions like this one, the historic Julius C. Hester House. Their place in history and that movement is often overshadowed. But this institution is a beacon of inspiration. Today, it is the oldest continuing Black settlement house in the entire state of Texas. We are well aware of the demographic changes, and we serve everyone who comes here, knowing that although this house was built out of an era, if you were black, you had to get back. If you were brown, you couldn't hang around. But this is open to everyone now. For over 80 years, Hester House has been here to enhance the quality of life in the Nickel and surrounding community through programs and services promoting self-empowerment. They strive to engage and empower clients to seek independence by important programs, Sharia, like infant preschool, after-school achievement, youth services, senior enrichment, basic skills, emergency basic needs, including food, rent, mortgage, and utility assistance. And even if you're 69 years old like I am, you can come here and learn how to swim. It's never too late to learn how to avoid drowning. While the era of segregation and racial terror are in our past, the goal of building community solidarity and providing residents with much-needed services have not changed. Today, as we celebrate the impact and legacy of UUC Hester House, we're proud of its past and hopeful for its future. At Precinct 1, we're proud to put the bulk of the funding to keep Hester House operating. And Sharia, I just chatted with Representative Dutton a few minutes ago. He's on the House floor, and he was a tremendous ally to pay for this community center and also pay for the aquatic center. And I said, you did such a great job, get us some more. This is only the first launch of what I hope will be a series of events to try and raise money from this community and the broader community to keep Hester House operating. Harris County won't always be able to do it, and we want this community and the broader community to step up. Today, we also have an opportunity to honor another one of our local heroes, in addition to Miss UUC Hester. John Biggers would be 99 years old today. And I must admit, when I was trying to figure out how we would dedicate this mural, which has been here since October, and we kept December. They started in October. We talked about it in October. It was finished in December. But I figured, you notice it just popped up, right? If you pass by and you just wondered, don't act like it was always here. This was a big difference. And I was trying to find an event to dedicate to mural. And then I said, if it's the 80th anniversary, well, heck, let's go out and do the mural for the 80th anniversary. And David Hales, who is Hazel Biggers' nephew, who spent a lot of time caring for Miss Biggers during the end of her life, and for John Biggers as well, is in charge of that estate. He lives in Virginia, and I went over to meet with him and asked for permission from him to be able to reproduce this mural. And David, I know you're listening. He's caring for some relatives now. Thank you. Give him a round of applause for giving us permission to reproduce his mural. But Earl Hutnall made the comment to me, this is John Biggers' 99th birthday. If I'd known that, we would have done the Hester House deal a little later. But this is opportunity to officially unveil the first replica in what we hope will be a series of partnerships with Street Art for Mankind. You'll hear from them at the end of the program. I want to thank Street Art for Mankind for this stunning recreation of John Biggers' mural. Audrey and Thibaut Decker with Street Art for Mankind made this possible. The board, we appreciate you putting up the funding, and it's the best deal you'd ever get. We won't even mention that price. Obviously, Street Art for Mankind does this out of a passion for United Nations sustainability goals, because I assure you, if they'd asked us to pay for this through the normal course, we would not have been able to do it. Public art has the power to inspire, make change, remind us of our history, and unite people for a common cause. This mural, entitled The Stream Crosses the Path, is a replica of an outstanding painting by Houston-based artist, the late John Biggers. Biggers' contributions across Houston focused on African themes. And he was one of the first African-American artists to travel to Africa and integrate what he saw there into his artwork. This piece highlights the power and beauty of black women, featured as a cosmic creative force of African culture, constant themes of John Bigger's artwork. The original painting is a 40 by 60 inches oil on tempera on a panel that can be viewed at the Museum of Fine Arts when they bring it out about once every couple of years. But now in Fifth Ward, only in Fifth Ward, you can see it any day of the week, and we have lights on it. You can see it at night. This mural is a part of the Street Art for Mankind John Bigger's mural series to beautify Hester House and this community center. But it also serves a larger purpose. It is the first in a series of planned murals, which are replicas of the famous paintings by John Biggers between 1924 and 2001, made by hidden street artists and curated by Street Art for Mankind. They raise awareness of the legacy of this incredible African-American artist who was also a philosopher and teacher. Biggers was world-renowned for his social realist murals and symbolic paintings. I have long lauded the work of Street Art for Mankind and their efforts to bring out the diversity of art and democratize it to ensure people have access to art without having to visit a museum. But we do want you to go to a museum. But in case you are not there, we want you to do it 24 hours a day. I hope this mural inspires folks to learn more about John Biggers, and I'm proud to host this mural and a series of others by John Biggers and others throughout Precinct 1. With that, I want to bring up a young man I'm so proud of. He does such a great job. He chairs the board of the Julia C. Hester House, and he was my favorite judge, Jeremy Brown.
Thank you, Commissioner Ellis, and thank you for your continued support of Julia C. Hester House. Thank you. I want to recognize some dignitaries in the audience and also folks who have made Hester House what it is and continue to be. Judge Victor Trevino is here. The staff of Constable Trevino is here. They're the ones that keep us safe and always here at night, so I always want to thank them. A lot of the folks that kept and keep Hester House going, Dr. Mark Ryan, whose father helped start Hester House. We have former board chair Charles McLeod and his wife Carol. Ms. Cleo McCaughlin, who has always been part of Hester House. Thank you. And folks that keep Hester House busy, the principal of Atherton, Dr. Curtis, and her assistant vice principal, Ms. Finley. It is a wonder to come here around 2:50 and see a caravan of children coming from Atherton to Hester House. Because at the end of the day, Hester House is an epicenter for this community. In partnership with Atherton, in partnership with the Head Start Center, we are trying to provide opportunities that these kids may not have. Coach, at our Christmas, was it holiday party? Had a 4-year-old playing chess. Now, where can a kid in this neighborhood play chess? Where can a kid in this neighborhood learn to swim? So we want to, that 80 years is a lot, but we want 80 more. So please be a partner at Hester House. Come as you please, but please don't forget your checkbook. Thank you. Next on our list is Dr. McCullough.
Dr. McCullough, yay!
I want to call you baby.
Let me begin by giving you a bit of history about Julia C. Hester, who the Hester House is named after. She inspired generations of Houstonians through her community service. Ms. Hester strongly believed in the power of education and engagement of neighborhood youth to ensure that we had safety, we had a community that loved one another, and that we had a community that was connected. The historic Fifth Ward community is so overwhelmingly grateful for Ms. Hester's vision and her service within this community. She opened her home to neighborhood children who actively engaged in, and she nurtured them in the development. So we have a lot of community leaders and successful individuals who has come out of Fifth Ward as a result of her involvement and the siblings that they have continued the legacy with. In addition to her work with neighborhood youth, Ms. Hester was a highly respected community leader and active volunteer until her death in 1940. The Hester House was established, as you heard earlier, in 1943 to honor her legacy by providing a safe haven for youth and promoting education and quality of life for families residing in the historic Fifth Ward community. The Hester House is one of the oldest community outreach centers in Houston, and its importance is still essential. It's an essential institution. Please hear me. It is an essential institution in our community and the community at large. The Hester House started out as a hub, a meeting place for community residents, and has stated, and as has been stated previously, it was a safe haven for community neighborhood children who could come over here for after-school programming, and parents would know that their kids were going to be safe. They were going to be taught, and they were going to be nurtured. It is still that community hub where residents of various ages can come and participate in numerous activities such as the vibrant youth development program, after school and summer camps. We so are grateful to Atherton and the leadership there. And as stated, the gymnasium, a state-of-the-art gymnasium that the seniors, the children, and everybody in the community can come and participate in for recreational and health and wellness activities. The Hester House worked collaboratively with other nonprofit organizations to provide referral services where residents can get the services they need and actually provide them with stability that they need for their families. As a resident of Fifth Ward, let me stress to you the importance of why the Hester House needs to continue to be our beacon light, our beacon light. We are so proud that after 80 years of existence, the Hester House continues to provide a range of support mechanisms that focus on youth development, senior services, social services, and a place really where everybody can come and hang out, have fun, get to know one another, get to love one another, enjoy health and wellness activities. This institution provides educational opportunities, hope, and direction for many of the youth and senior citizens and just the total community in our residents in our community. We thank you so very much, and we ask you to please continue to support the Hester House because it is an essential institution within the historic Fifth Ward community. Thank you.
I'll do it. I'll mess it up, right? Recognize Eileen Lawal. She and her husband are doing so much, Case Lawal and Eileen, to make sure we recognize our history. Eileen's doing a great job. Where are you, Eileen? I saw you earlier. Where'd you vanish to? She might. Oh, there you are back there. Give her a hand. Eileen is the linchpin on Freedmanstown and working very closely with our Congresswoman, Sheila Jackson Lee, and Congressman Al Green. I'll get him. I saw Bruce. He's ducking on me, though. But thank you for what you do, Eileen Lawal. Bruce Austin, where are you? A long time. There you are, Bruce. Thank you for being here, Bruce. And you've done so much for this precinct over the years. Also, Nicole Irvin from the mayor's office. Nicole handles so many great cultural events for the mayor all over our community, and we appreciate her so much. She and I are teaming up. Have you all noticed these murals going up around town? And I'll tell you a little secret. You may be the first to know it, so don't press if you back there. I think I saw the Chronicle. Don't print it. There are 20 more coming. I'm just so proud of what we're doing. There will be 2 spectacular ones over at City Hall, and Nicole was doing her best to get that replica of a John Biggers over there at City Hall, but we got something else for you. I'm still working out the details. It might not be a John Biggers, but you'll be so proud of those 2 over there. University of Houston downtown campus has agreed to a wall, and but we'll have 20 going up. Let me tell you what we did that's a little different when you notice these murals. We'll do a dedication later, but if you've noticed the woman with the afro coming up I-45, or you coming up I-10, anybody notice her? Put your hand, if you noticed her, just leaping out of the sky. And that was an idea that really Tebow and Audrey came up with. One of the artists wanted to do that. That is the site of the most popular slave auction trading block in Houston. A former mayor of Galveston owned that plot of land. And I was trying to think of what would be the right thing there, and I sent them some sketchings on what we hope to do with the Remembrance Park, our version of the lynching memorial in downtown Houston. That'll be announced and coming up later. And really, it was the artist that came up with that idea, and then we decided to go. I was just going crazy thinking about John Biggers, where we'd put this Biggers, but I couldn't work out the details to get the rights. And when we finally worked them out, you know, we couldn't do another one. We had to find a wall downtown. All of the walls had given us permission. But how did I not think of Hester House? But I figured we had that other wall down there. We put Symphonia Thompson's face on it. Then the artist got a little slick. They wanted to do a nod to multiculturalism. So there's a green eye and a blue eye. And, of course, Miss Thompson said, "Are you trying to say something's wrong with my eyes?" And I said, "Miss T, it's art." But look, I want you to hear briefly, I know it's hot before we go inside, and you all mingle when we go in after this, but I want you to hear from this young couple that I met during the pandemic. I saw this mural going up, and I was so shocked because I saw these black faces in the mural. Very colorful, but that was just striking. You don't see that. Now, I've gotten a little heat from some people. Every street downtown is named after somebody who was probably somehow related to something significant in the Confederacy. But I'm not going to even go there. But it's just so shocking when you see people of color, when you see women. And I want to make that statement. Tebow and Audrey, I was saying when I came over here, the county judge and I are doing a press conference next week, and I told my staff, I want to do something in front of that mural of the Native American young woman. The young black kid obviously has gone global. I mean, you know what? Whenever I chat with his mother, that mural has just gone viral. You'd be shocked. It was even on the news in Paris. I don't watch the news in Paris. You all sent it to me, I think. And then someone with Total Energy sent it. But look, I'm so appreciative of this young couple for helping to give us an open-air museum, which will be the largest one of any city in the country, but it won't be the only one. Audrey and Tebow Decker.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rodnellis, for your absolutely amazing support and for your inspiration as well. So we are Audrey and Tebow Decker. We are the co-founder of Street Art for Mankind that we created actually in 2015, originally around the fight against child labor and trafficking. And I don't know, Tebow, if you want to talk a little bit about our history, and then I talk about Biggers.
As you want. Yep. So I'm going to get closer to the mic. Okay.
All right.
It's still there. Sorry.
That's all right. That's okay.
Good. So yeah, so we, as Audrey said, we were created in 2015 out of an encounter with the Nobel Peace Prize Kailash Satyarthi. We started at that time to engage, I would say, to talk about child trafficking and how, 160 million kids in labor and trafficking is kind of a burden. So we just decided to jump in, create a big event to help the Nobel at that time get a bit of awareness. And from there on, the UN heard about it, and we started doing murals for them, and we never stopped. And we started doing murals in the US and then across the world. And today, yeah, we do tour the world all the time to talk about social and environmental issues, not only child trafficking, though it stays our heart, and it stays, all the financing that we do is to finance Red and Rescue to save kids across the world from trafficking. But we do talk about a lot of issues. So very, very happy also to be here today. I want to thank Hester House for really hosting us, for accepting our long hours and being there when we had to actually paint nighttime and the rest, because that was kind of hell. Now, thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
It's not a lot about ourselves today, and I'd like to say that because it's a huge honor to be able to paint a Biggers. And for us, it meant really, really a lot to have the opportunity to do this. So I want to thank again Rodney Ellis for making that possible. It's kind of a dream to be able to give visibility, to get people to know John Biggers, to get people who know him to see him and to see him daily, not to have to go to a museum, as you were saying, though it's great to go to museums, of course. But yes, to be able to see actually his painting. That piece meant a lot. We thought it really went a lot with Hester House. And I'm going to let Audrey maybe talk a bit more about it. I'm just going to say one word on the artist that I won't give his name. So same as us. It's not about us. He didn't want it to be about himself. So I'll call him Emmanuel. He'll recognize himself when I say that. It's not his artist name. But at least I want to thank him for the job, because when you look at it, I think he respected a lot of the brush strokes, actually, of that original painting. If you look at the two, there's talent in that person. But again, it's not about him. It's not about us. Thank you, John Biggers, for this beautiful piece.
Well, I mean, the beautiful piece, and actually to imagine that it's a 40 by 60 inches painting, and when you see the size of what is behind you, it's quite crazy. So yes, a very, very talented artist. Basically, it was just to add a few things. First, about John Biggers, who's obviously an extremely talented artist. He's a muralist, a painter, a philosopher, an educator as well. It's funny, just for the fun, just to tell you that, is that actually the funding he got when his big inspiration come from going to Africa, and this is UNESCO who sent him to Africa. And we did actually a few murals together with UNESCO in downtown. So it's funny to see how, things go together, and how someone who inspired, the artist, I mean, an organization, a UN organization that inspired an artist to go to Africa is now also part of the programs we're all doing in town. So that's just for the fun part. And so John Biggers is absolutely a fundamental artist from the United States. And I just wanted to read this sentence about Biggers that really resonates a lot with the project, from Nobel Peace Prize winning writer Maya Angelou. So she wrote, "Biggers sees our differences and celebrates them. And in doing so, he allows the clans of the world to come together with deliberate respect and respectful appreciation." And this is all about the work of Biggers. This is all about what we want to do, all as one family and as humankind. So thank you all for being here today.
One family, one future. That's what we wanted to say. So thank you. Thank you all for all and allowing us to be here today.
Is that okay? So, Sharid, did I do everything we needed to do?
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. As always, we wouldn't be able to be here without the support from Harris County Precinct 1 and Commissioner Rodney Ellis, and he is to be thanked, and you all can feel free to recognize him. Thank you so much. In addition, Abner Lyons is here. He's from State Representative Harold Dutton's office. Abner's always very helpful. He helps us with our Barbara Bush box, and he drops out gigantic bags of potato chips that we have to ration out to the kids and the seniors, for that matter, because nobody needs all that salt. I've also got a special guest. Miss Rhonda Higgins is here. Rhonda is not only a close personal friend of mine, but her grandmother, Mrs. Jimmy Gray, was one of the first executive directors at Hester House. And there's a lot of people here today that tell me all the time, and Cleo had to leave, but they came to Hester House when they were little kids because their parents wouldn't let them go anywhere else. But they knew that they were safe here. And that's what we continue to do. Rhonda, stand up, okay? And it goes all the way back to the Mrs. Gray legacy. Rhonda's been gracious enough because her grandmother, as well as her parents, have moved on from this life, but she has shared a lot of memorabilia with us, as has Dr. Ryan. Not only was his father one of the founders of Hester House, he was the first president of the Hester House Board, Mr. William Ryan, and he was at that time with the United Way. And as the commissioner said, you know, this was supposed to be the Negro hangout, for lack of a better word, because that was the term. But he was insistent that the name be changed to Julius C. Hester House in honor of Mrs. Hester, and I think that that's to be commended. Dr. Ryan continues to be supportive, as does his niece, and so we thank their family on behalf of the staff and the board of Hester House. I'm finished.
So thank you all. I'd be remiss if I didn't also thank El Franco Lee. I called young Franco on my way over here because Hester House was about to close. It just did not have the support from the philanthropic community, and it would not have kept its doors open. So Franco signed an agreement a decade ago, thinking he'd do it for a year, and then it would go back to being a fully funded, not-for-profit, Mr. Chairman. A decade later, Precinct 1 is still doing it. We're going to probably go 6 months at a time, but it is important for the community to support it. We do spend more out of our budget on this center than we do on our others that the county controls and runs. So this will be the launch today to start a series of activities in the 80th year of Hester House. It just happened to fall on this day because there's an event that Audrey and Tebow in town for later on the day with the mural. So that's why we did. I had no earthly idea this was John Bigger's 99th birthday until Earl Huttenall sent me a text about 4 a.m. this morning saying, did you know it's John Bigger's 99th birthday? And I wish you told me 2 weeks ago, and we could have planned this other deal for Hester House at another time. We're going to move a John Biggers from Adair Park. He did a famous mural of Christy Adair. It's been abandoned or closed up for well over a decade. We're going to move that to downtown, restore it, and we'll figure out what we'll do to honor Miss Adair in that park. But we taking Nicole John Biggers' original to downtown Houston. We are going to put it indoors inside the Family Law Center. It'll be part of the anchor for our version of Lynching Memorial in downtown Houston. So look, thank you for coming to John Biggers' birthday party in Houston, 99th and the 80th anniversary of the Julius C. Hester House. Thank you for coming. We have refreshments inside. Get out of this heat. I know it's hot. Thank you.